The energy you hold internally is what you experience externally, not as a metaphor, as a mechanism. Your internal state builds the environment you walk through every single day, and most people never trace the connection because it happens too fast to notice. Here's what's actually happening. Your internal state acts as a magnet. It pulls specific experiences toward you, and it dictates how every situation unfolds. Once it arrives, you think the day happens to you. It doesn't. The day meets whatever you brought into it. Two people can walk through the exact same situation and leave with two completely different experiences. Same meeting, same conversation, same rejection, same opportunity. The event is identical. The experience is not. One person walks into a room carrying doubt about their value. They read a neutral comment as an attack. They interpret silence as disapproval. They leave the room certain they were dismissed, when nothing in the room actually confirmed that. Their internal state filtered the entire event before it had a chance to be neutral. Another person walks into the same room carrying steadiness. They hear the same neutral comment and take it at face value. They notice the same silence and assume nothing about it. They leave with no story attached because they didn't need one. Same room, same words, two different lives lived inside it. This is the filter. Your beliefs, your emotional baseline, and your expectations decide what you notice, what you ignore, what you remember, and what meaning you assign. You are not seeing reality directly. You are seeing reality through the state you brought with you. And once you understand this, you stop asking, why does this keep happening to me? And start asking, what am I bringing into the room that keeps producing this? The filter explains how you interpret what happens. The magnet explains what happens in the first place. Your internal state doesn't just color events after they occur. It dictates your behavior before they occur, and your behavior is what generates the event. If you carry anxiety into a negotiation, you concede faster. If you carry resentment into a relationship, you look for evidence of betrayal until you find it, even where none exists. If you carry scarcity into your work, you undercharge, you overextend. You say yes to things that drain you because some part of you believes there won't be another opportunity if you say no. None of this is coincidence. It's cause and effect running underneath your awareness. The internal state produces the behavior. The behavior produces the outcome. The outcome then gets read as proof that the original belief was correct, and the belief gets stronger. This is the loop. It runs whether you're conscious of it or not, and it will keep running your entire life unless you interpret it at the source, which is the internal state, not the external result. Most people try to fix the outcome directly. They change jobs to escape a feeling of being undervalued. They end a relationship to escape a feeling of not being chosen. They move cities to escape a feeling of being stuck. And for a short while, it works because the environment is new and there is nothing yet to confirm the old belief. But give it enough time and the same pattern reappears because the thing that generated the pattern in the first place never left. It just changed location. You cannot outrun an internal state. You can only change it. This is why lasting change begins within, and nowhere is that more visible than in the decisions you make daily without thinking about them. If your identity is rooted in scarcity, you'll make decisions that preserve scarcity. Even when abundance is available to you, you'll take the smaller offer because letting go feels like loss instead of correction. You'll avoid asking for what you're worth because some part of your identity has already decided you'll be told no, and asking will just confirm it. Scarcity doesn't need bad luck to keep repeating. It only needs you to keep making decisions from inside it. If your identity is rooted in self-respect, you'll naturally make choices that reinforce it. You leave situations that cost you more than they give. You'll ask for what you need directly because withholding the request never occurred to you as safer. You'll rest without guilt because your worth was never tied to how much you produce. Self-respect doesn't require constant vigilance. It requires you to stop making decisions from a version of yourself that no longer applies. Every decision is just an output. You cannot change the outputs by managing them one at a time forever. Eventually, you have to go into the system itself. This is the part people resist the most because it's easier to believe the problem is out there. The wrong partner, the wrong job, the wrong circumstances. And sometimes circumstances generally are wrong. But if you notice the same pattern show up across different partners, different jobs, different cities, different friend groups, the common denominator was never the circumstance. It was the internal state you carried into each one. Think about the last time something external changed and you expected it to fix how you felt. A new relationship that was supposed to make you feel chosen. A new job that was supposed to make you feel valuable. A new home that was supposed to make you feel settled. If the internal state driving the need for those things never changed, the relief was temporary, because the thing you were actually trying to fix was inside you the entire time. External change can support internal change. It cannot replace it. This is also why two people can experience the same external success completely differently. One person hits a goal they worked years for and feels nothing because their internal state was never actually about the goal. It was about proving something to a part of themselves that doesn't believe evidence. Another person hits a much smaller goal and feels complete because their internal state was already whole before the achievement arrived. The achievement didn't create the peace, it confirmed what was already there. Understanding the mechanism is the first step. Working with it is the second. And this is where most people stop, because it requires something more demanding than motivation. It requires observation. Start by noticing your internal state before you react to anything, not after. Before you respond to the message, before you walk into the room, before you answer the question, pause and name what you're actually carrying. Are you tense? Are you defensive? Are you already expecting to be let down? This single habit, catching the state before the reaction, is where the entire pattern becomes visible for the first time. Once you can see it, question the belief underneath it. If you notice you're bracing for rejection, ask where that belief came from and whether it's actually true right now in this specific situation, or whether it's an old conclusion you formed once and never updated. Most internal states aren't reactions to the present moment. They're reactions to a moment from years ago that never got resolved, replaying itself through your current life. Then choose your response deliberately instead of automatically. This is the part that feels unnatural at first, because your automatic response has been running the show for a long time, and it will not hand over control without resistance. You'll feel the pull to react the old way. Do it anyway, differently, on purpose, even in a small moment where the stakes are low. A different response to a low-stakes moment is how you prove to yourself that a different internal state is possible, before you ever have to prove it in a moment that matters. Finally, track what happens as evidence. When you respond from a steadier state and the outcome shifts, even slightly, notice it. Don't dismiss it as luck. Your identity has spent years collecting evidence for the old belief. It needs new evidence, deliberately gathered, to build a different one. This is not a one-time fix. It's a slow accumulation, the same way the old pattern was a slow accumulation. Except now, you're the one choosing what gets reinforced. You're not a passenger inside your circumstances, reacting to a life that happens to you at random. You are the one generating the conditions through the state you carry into every room, every conversation, every decision you think is small. The energy you hold internally is what you experience externally, because your internal state has been quietly writing the instructions for how you show up, and the world has simply been following them. Change the state, and you change what it produces. Not overnight, not by force, but by choosing, again and again, in the small, unremarkable moments, to respond from the person you're building instead of the person you've been. That's where it actually starts, not out there, in here.